David Bowie is most known as a singer-songwriter and leading figure in the glam rock and electronic rock scenes. The constant reinvention of his star personas and his bold visual presentation left a massive impact on the popular music scene. But today I want to talk about his short but impactful acting career and have a look at how his musical and on-screen performances became intertwined and became a prime example of a new style of screen star image, one that combines the mechanisms of the film and music industry. I also want to look at how these on-stage and on-screen personas became symbols of social transgressiveness and why this style of musical star image has fallen out of fashion since. A larger link between the music and film industries had already started to form in the 1970s in what K.J. Donnelly called the composite film score, a soundtrack to films that replaced the traditional orchestral score with a collage of popular music. Popular songs had always appeared in film since Judy Garland sung Over the Rainbow in Wizard of Oz, but the composite film score allowed the music performer to form a link with the film without directly appearing on camera. This became part of a larger movement towards synergy, a commercial logic that came to define New Hollywood. However, Nicholas Roeg's 1976 film, The Man Who Fell to Earth, notably doesn't feature its star, David Bowie, in a musical role. Rose stated that it was Bowie's performance as Ziggy Stardust on stage and his ability to control a crowd that inspired him to place Bowie in the more serious role of Thomas Jerome Newton. Additionally, Bowie's own off-screen interactions with the media while he was living in Los Angeles inspired David Bowie's casting in the main role. While he doesn't perform musically within the film, The Man Who Fell to Earth still utilizes this core part of his star image in its advertising. Landon Palmer noted the difference in the way that the UK and the US promoted the film based on how familiar audiences were with Bowie. In the UK, the trailer centered David Bowie and his out-of-this-world character and its relation to the unusual nature of the film.
Nothing you have seen or heard about David Bowie will prepare you for the impact of his first dramatic performance.
This uses the bisexual alien rock star image in what Dyer would consider a perfect fit casting, where the screen star's image flawlessly fits within the film and is also reinforced by being in the film. Meanwhile, in the US, where Bowie had not reached the commercial success he'd seen in the UK, the film was advertised as more of a generic science fiction experience, with Bowie's name not appearing until the end of the trailer. David Bowie, who, much like his character, was being torn apart by the human vices of drugs and alcohol, mistakenly thought that he was to produce the soundtrack for The Man Who Fell to Earth, and this music ended up becoming a core part of his next two albums, Station to Station and Low. Both of these albums ended up borrowing images from the film for their album cover, and his character within the film went on to inspire David Bowie's next musical persona, the Thin White Duke. This persona would reflect in how he appeared in interviews, calling himself a businessman over a musician, and ditching the old extravagant outfits for a lot more suits. This is part of a larger star image that is solely unique to him, a music persona directly inspired by a film which was directly inspired by music. You couldn't find a clearer example of how Bowie connected the music and film industries. This began what was known as his straight era, based on the Rolling Stones cover interview titled Straight Time. This referenced both his changing role to becoming a serious screen and theatre performer and renounced his previous coming out as bisexual in the 1972 interview. This straight era is also important when talking about his last starring role in Labyrinth, one that is better understood within traditional star structures. This would be his first and last movie where he would take on both a starring acting role and also taking on a musical role within the film's production. This was mainly due to Bowie's own fascination towards writing music targeted towards a younger audience, something he didn't believe he'd be able to do within his normal musical roles. Because of his involvement musically, Labyrinth was able to better incorporate his star persona in all of its aspects, including advertisement and even within parts of its narrative. When his character Jareth performs Dance Magic Dance, the song and choreography take on a call and response quality common in his songs and stage performances. Additionally, in his music video for Underground, the screen flashes many of his iconic personas and roles, including Ziggy Stardust, Thomas Newton-John, the Thin White Duke, and his role as the Goblin King. Labyrinth and its production could also be called David Bowie's first mainstream role, though the film would still have a limited cult appeal until its later release in VHS. This is actually a core part of David Bowie's film career, which is the lack of wide commercial success that his music had. Nearly all his films would appeal as cult pictures, but would never reach the same positive wide audience reception that his music would. This could point towards the struggle to succeed outside of the typical star-making structures, highlighted by the fact that his two most famous roles highlighted in this essay both also correspond best with his musical image, one matching his persona and one matching him as an artist. You could argue this supports traditional star-making theories, and that his other roles could be seen as what Dyer calls problematic castings, as they deviate too much from his original star image. This lack of commercial success, yet ability to garner social recognition as an actor and as a performer, gave him a unique position where he could take transgressive stances in his life without governance from commercial managers, and in a way this may help explain why there haven't been multi-industry stars like him since.